Activation code required. Access granted. Warning. Evacuation sequence activated.
We're back. Welcome to the bunker.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of S-4 Paranormal Bunker. So, we are here tonight to talk to you about manifestations of the human making. So, we're going to talk Bloody Mary, Candyman, Slender Man, and anything else we feel up to, and then see where that takes us tonight, because tonight has been a rough night. How's everybody doing? We've got Rick Pursley, Robert White, and John with us in the studio. So,
sweet.
How you guys doing?
Awesomeness.
Pretty good.
Yeah, doing pretty good.
Perfect, friend. So let's start with Bloody Mary. I think. Does anyone know where Bloody Mary came from?
Wasn't it England?
Yes, friends. So Bloody Mary is considered to be Mary Tudor, the daughter of King Henry VIII of England. So, supposedly, she burned thousands of her subjects at the stake. Friend, everyone, of course, knows the whole idea of Bloody Mary is you say her name into a mirror 3 times.
Like Beetlejuice.
Yes, and she will appear before you and cause you harm.
Right.
Now, I don't know what you guys, but like, I've done that on multiple occasions, and
Nothing's happened.
my mom showed up, but that don't count. And, well, you know, friend, but, yeah, no, like, nothing's ever happened, friend. I never believed it as a child. How about you guys?
Duh.
Well, I don't think I knew anything about that until I was an adult. Probably around the time the Candyman movie started coming, or at the very least a teenager. When the first Candyman came out. But, yeah, even then, it's one of those things where I've never felt the need to invoke something, and of course, nothing is going to happen. I believe that. I know that in my head, but there's part of me that's just like, best not to put something you don't, knowing my luck, it could happen. So I just prefer not to take the chances. So.
Yeah, I never put much stock into it either, and just in that same case, that same scenario, don't want to risk it just in case it does.
Yeah.
For me, it would be like let's say every 2 months. But I was one of those little shit disturbers. So I always made sure there was someone else with me when I did it that had never done it before. How about you, John? Wake up.
I'm awake. I've done it like once or twice.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like when I was like 5, but...
When you were 5?
Yeah.
That's a little young.
Wait, I want to I want to circle back to something real quick, John. Hang on a second. So, Cole, you had somebody in the room with you.
Yeah.
What do you think would happen just having the extra person? Is that going to somehow grant you some kind of, like, if there's two of us, you can't get us.
Human meat shield.
We'll double team.
No, you throw them into the window and run.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I don't understand the concept, because if it's a supernatural entity, I don't think it's going to matter about the number. It's going to matter about it. Well, there's two of them. More for me.
Same reasoning as when a bear is chasing you. You just
Right.
got to be faster than the other guy. And
also-
if you toss him into the mirror, well, you're automatically faster.
Well, true. But what happens if it's just, you say you invoked it? So wouldn't it just ignore the other person and come after you regardless?
No, because I only use white people. Fred,
Okay. Well, I can't argue against you. Yeah.
name someone. Yeah, name someone on Thanksgiving who goes for the dark meat first. Like, come on. Like,
I do. Actually, I do. I hate white meat.
Wow, you racist bastard.
Yeah. Well, it's, I like all kinds of meat in my ladies. So. But Paul is giving me the dust there right now.
So it's just when it comes to the men, you prefer the dark meat, is what you're saying.
No.
All kinds of men, then. Like, I don't know what you're saying here, Rick.
I'm not saying anything. All I did was ask you, wait a minute, there's two of you. Is it gonna, somehow it got around to me and dark meat with men? I don't know.
Hey, you brought it up.
Yeah, you're good at this. Red.
I didn't bring any of it. You're dead as usual. You circled it around to something
Hey,
else.
it's okay. We accept you.
Yes.
It's Pride Month.
Right now, John, the only reason you're doing this is you're not catching the bullets right now. Your time's coming. He's coming for you later in the show. It's going to happen.
Nah.
Well, maybe he may be fond of you kids this week. So
Now, did that... Yeah, right. Fred. Did that
John,
go...
you're going to have this is the week to do it. So
Fred. Yeah, probably not. He's not my favorite right now, so you know how it is. Fred.
Why? What did I do?
Is he ever your favorite?
Yeah, some days. Some days.
Okay.
Fred.
Okay.
But, did you guys ever, like, try that with any of them?
No.
Like,
No.
so that's the stupid part, is back then, we had rules of how to do this.
Yeah.
Now, you put something on the internet and, friend, it can just show up. Like,
Yeah.
you think of the Slender Man, friend, you don't have to invoke him. The internet has done it for you.
Yeah, but how does he even get onto your radar unless you somehow trigger him? See, that's what I never understood about that one.
That one's actually pretty easy because algorithms on the internet now look at what you have looked at in the past,
Right.
what you have had interest in. That was the whole point of the retina display of the iPhones and iPads, was the fact that they could actually track where your retina was looking on the screen. So if you had an ad on your screen that was a little bar, they could actually tell if you were looking at the ad or if you were looking at what you were actually trying to view. So if you stared at the ad for over 2 seconds, it feeds that into the algorithm and feeds you more ads about that item. Without the retina display, we have a mouse pointer on almost every device we have except for phones, like any bigger device, right?
Yep.
It is a well-known fact that when you have something like that, when you are looking at something, you run the mouse tracker over it. They used all of these things to see what you are viewing.
The government's out to get me.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, of course they are. But if you got to think, if an entity is using the internet to spread themselves, that would be what they're using to do it.
Right. But is it going to come after everybody, or how does it select you to get you?
Well, supposedly the story with Slender Man is just it chooses you based on your mind.
If you're weak-minded.
Nikki, welcome to the show. We love you. Where the hell you been?
Welcome.
Laugh, but shower because I got it really freaking late. I am so sorry. I didn't realize it would take me that long.
Excuses.
We were going to talk to you about that, friend.
About shower?
New shower. Not
Friend.
used to it.
Robert was saying something smelled weird. He didn't know what was going on. Friend.
Oh, smartass.
Friend. So we were just discussing, we went through a little bit about Bloody Mary. Friend. And then we went on to, like, the fact that we had rules for invoking manifestation back then. Right? Like,
Yes.
you had to look into the mirror, say it 3 times, had to be dark, maybe have a candle lit. Friend.
That sounds about right.
Well, yeah, you got to wine and dine them, otherwise they're not going to show up. Friend.
Nope.
But now, with the involvement of the internet, it's not really required.
Yeah, that's kind of true, actually.
Like, the idea of Slender Man kind of just grew from that and exponentially all of a sudden. And you look at how things go viral now.
Yeah. Actually, there's a man saying potato that's going viral right now. He holds out a potato in the skyscraper. It's pretty cool.
Almost everyone has seen the #1 viral thing this week.
Potato.
And it's a young lady in the South saying, Hoc toi. Friend. Her dad is very proud.
That was the funniest thing I've seen in a while. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, wait a minute, what? I don't
Yeah.
we don't pay attention to that stuff, but I had to go look. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Well,
Now I
and
know. I'm like,
see,
oh, God.
that's the thing. It's going viral, right? The thing is, a lot of my stuff on my phone and my devices that I watch are native-minded.
Yeah.
So I am getting all these notifications about the new Hoc Toi tribe, friend, and how it is a registered tribe within the United States now, friend. So, like, you think of how quickly something can gain footing on the internet, friend. The idea that it can take over, I hate to say it this way, but a weak-minded individual is not hard to believe.
Yeah, I agree with that heartedly.
And I do want to say, though, just because someone is weak-minded does not make them stupid.
Yeah, Dad. You go.
I'm talking about you, John. Friend. No, it doesn't make you stupid. Weak-minded can mean many things. It could mean that you don't have a lot of your own personal thoughts that you stick to, but you kind of go with the grain.
Well, but the problem with that is that's most of this country online. I mean, it's the lemmings that are out there in the world that just Twitter alone. I mean, how many millions of people are X or whatever the heck it is? How many millions of people are on that stupid thing? And just every little thing is like, they dig up something from 40 years ago, you said, and it's, well, you're canceled. And because it's mob mentality. So aren't all those people just as, they're weak-minded. you can't come up with your own thought. You get to go along with, well, they say this is bad, so I must do it. So,
Absolutely. We're in, like,
Yes.
so shouldn't Slender Man have a body count that's in the millions at this point?
I saw something that was perfect yesterday. Friend, sitting in the parking lot at the hospital. Friend, and just scrolling through Facebook, trying to take my minds off things. And this meme showed up that said, my son asked me, what did you guys do before the internet? Did you just not know anything?
God.
And it says, actually, yeah. You would go and ask your Aunt Tina for information on something. She'd give you the wrong answer, and you would follow that wrong answer for the next 20 years. Like, on some notes, that's true.
Yeah.
We had wild misconceptions growing up that because we didn't have Google right away. But the problem is Google, Yahoo, for every search engine, every encyclopedia on the internet, they're all human made. They all are akin to human error. And there is unfortunately no difference between fact and public opinion on the internet anymore. So nothing's changed in the last 50 years.
Actually, whatever I say on the internet is fact, so just wanted to remind you.
So if it comes from one of your accounts, it's fact.
Yes,
Wow.
100%.
Okay. I am telling everyone to get a hold of your phone. Fred,
No.
like, it.
Seriously. Not okay.
One thing I don't want access to is a teenage boy's phone. Ew.
I never fucking thought of that. Oh, sorry. Never thought of that.
Why are you sorry? You
Oh,
know,
sorry.
so I couldn't remember the topic for tonight.
Oh,
And
that is-
in total, I listened to 3.5 minutes of the show from last week. Probably 35 to 40 swear words. Friend, we did great.
Yeah, new record. Let's go.
And I'm not going to lie, it was mostly me.
Yeah. And we're not exactly going to be monetized on any of the major platforms. Are we even on YouTube anymore? Did that stop, or is it still being posted?
It's still being posted, but I don't think I have access to it, so I got to switch it over.
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
once we get over there, Paul and I were talking about it. Let's get over there, get to your place, get the laptop going. I'm gonna start trying to figure out a way to get that YouTube side of it up and going. So at least that we maybe get some extra eyes on things.
Yeah. We're in.
On my YouTube, excuse me, on my Restore Belief with Nikki YouTube account, I've put a lot of our stuff in a file folder from Eric's YouTube that was done, but I haven't been able to do it in the last 6 months solely because of having a laptop and internet for the laptop. So, but makes it a bit of a bitch. So, and I was hoping to have that available this week, but something got in the way. Or like
Yeah, I heard.
Mm-hmm.
You had a bit of a poltergeist.
yeah,
Of the
you could say
humankind.
that.
Of the humankind.
Yeah, that oh yeah, I wasn't a happy camper. I'm glad that they stopped targeting me in the energy weapon way. They can't do it because it would make local news. It would most likely make national news because of the kind, and I talked to a pro who knows his stuff, on exactly why. And the information was given to me from the side. They were like, hey, you need to look at this. And I was like, and then I went, oh my God. And I immediately contacted somebody I know that has that kind of knowledge, extreme knowledge, for damn good reason, and found out that, yeah, they can no longer do that because it would most likely, based on what I was told, unalive close to 100 people, and make a big boom on top of everything. And of the 100, probably 40 or 50 kids. So it would make major frickin' news, on top of the fact that they're in my location, within a 2-block, 3-block radius is lots of cameras, video cameras aimed out windows, video cameras on homes, video cameras on businesses. It would be witnessed. So, yeah, they go to do something like that, it's has some problems. Even if they try to do some kind of finite thing, they can't where I'm specifically located. So I'm very thankful for that. But the problem now is that they have chosen to come in astral. Again, I know how to deal with them in astral. And I know who to contact on the other side, who is like, no, let us take care of it. And I'm like, really? I don't have to do it? Really? I get very happy over that, because it's like, it's a bit of a relief. So, a couple of them have chosen not to arrive anymore because of certain things.
Corinne.
Called protection, baby. It's called really good on the other side, who are really good at protection. Better than I am. Far.
I think we need to teach kids more about protection.
Yeah.
Hey, I know the Harry Potter spell.
Not that kind of protection, young man. Of course, you don't got to worry about that anyway, so you're good.
Yeah, for our listeners, most of you don't know, my son Jalen was in an accident yesterday morning. He was messing around with his friends, and he fell out of a moving vehicle. So the vehicle was going at a pretty good speed, and he ended up busting his face on the pavement and getting a lot of road rash. He is at home right now. He is doing great. But like, he had one hell of a day. He took his first helicopter ride in a Black Hawk helicopter.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Yeah. And because it's from Whidbey Island, it was fully loaded. It had a 50 cal on it. And he didn't get to see a damn thing.
Aww.
Yeah, make sure he had...
Wait, get the ride?
Huh?
Did you guys, you or Kayla didn't get to ride with him, right?
Oh, hell no. They took him straight from the scene to the hospital, and then we were there about an hour and a half later.
Gotcha. That's okay. The only reason I asked is, Paula's daughter, when she was having her first child, they're out on Lopez Island, and it was dead of night, so there's no ferries, so Navy had to send out, and she was just saying probably the same Black Hawk, had to come get them, and so Paula got to ride with the doctor on that thing. I'm like, wait, you've been in a Black Hawk? I haven't been in a Black Hawk.
Yeah,
but
Providence Hospital in Everett has the best brain trauma unit in the state. So that is immediately where they took him. He didn't touch another hospital.
Sweet.
So
Yeah, that's about. Well, we used to live there, and needless to say, we were there quite a few times for not nearly a serious issue. And yeah, that place is about as awesome as it gets in all regards. But yeah, they're the brain trauma definitely, and they're cardiac.
My mom has been there many, many times, and the nurses, staff,
Yep.
I can't even, and many of the doctors. I mean, I dealt with so many different doctors. They are. I can't say enough about them.
The only thing I don't like is their security.
Yeah, I do have to agree with that.
Yes.
It's been about 2 years.
So me and Kayla walked into the hospital, and at first they couldn't find Jalen because of the way he was transported. He came in as a John Doe. And then they finally found him, and they sent the oldest fucking security guard they could find to tell me and Kayla, we're not going to let you back here, but we'll have someone come out and talk to you in about 5 minutes.
No.
What does every show you have ever seen
2 hours later
tell you when they say that?
Someone bad.
2 to 5 hours.
Yeah, your kid's gone.
Yeah.
Friend, like...
I can't even ride an hour and a half ride not knowing how you... That had to have been hell. I mean, and to hear that, I think I would have come unhinged.
I do have to give a shout out to all the people on I-5 North or South yesterday. They all seemed to know that I needed to get there because everyone was doing 90. And usually you always get one straggler that's not doing that. Mm-hmm. Who's thinking, we should just do the speed limit. Well, no, not yesterday. Even the semi-trucks were doing 90. Like, it was insane. Friend, everyone was booking it. Friend. But he is home. He is healthy to the point. Friend, he's healing. I guess that's a better description. Friend, and...
He now has the title Scarface.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he went 5 rounds with Mike Tyson in his prime, but he,
Yeah, he'll have a few titles for the next while. Scarface, Forrest Gump.
Get away with that.
You ain't got no face, Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah, pretty much. Friend, but
when I read what I did, I couldn't. I kept thinking about him, and I kept thinking about you too. Instantaneous, and I went, nope, I got to get rid of all this negative BS that I dealt with last night, and deal with the energy, and immediately get into hardcore prayer because I couldn't even fathom what you guys were going through.
Well,
I was this close to just going, you know what? The heck with it. I'm just going to go down there, and if I just sit idly by in a room somewhere, I'll do it, but I'm going to be there.
I've done that with people.
Yeah, but fortunately, well, I guess Paula was talking to you, right, Cole?
yeah.
Yeah, so she was like, no, don't go. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, we sent Kayla's sister home after a while because originally they told us he was leaving last night. Like, he was going to get to come home last night.
Right.
And then he tried to stand up and he puked immediately. So they gave him 300 milligrams of ketamine.
Let's go.
On the ride to the hospital. So, yeah, when we got there... Yeah, he was still tripping balls when we got there.
I'm sure.
He would wake up every 5 minutes and say, so, I'm in a hospital. What happened? Fall back asleep, wake up again. So, what happened?
Oh, wow.
That's finally stopped. He remembers everything and knows that he shouldn't have been doing what he was doing. And he has assured us and himself that that will never happen again. So, sometimes it takes a hard lesson, and I'm hoping his friends all feel the same lesson.
Yeah. Well, it
I friend on whoever, I'm not going to say the name of the site that I saw it on because it's basically like he's got going
You mean
kid. I
mean
know
Skagit
that.
breaking, right?
Huh?
Skagit breaking? I don't like. I don't care if we say their name for one reason, Nikki. I really hate that web or that Facebook group.
yeah.
The fact that they share photos before the family's notified.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't things like that from them yet. Oh
Well,
my God.
There was a gal that her and her husband, when we first moved up here, the guy that owns the property here was wanting to sell a couple of old cars he had, and he was like, "Well, I'll give you a cut of the money if you put them up on Facebook and sell them." So we sold both of them to this young couple, and I didn't think anything else of it. And fast forward to a few months ago, and there was an accident up towards Rockport on 20, and the male driver had been ejected from the vehicle, as well as he had the family dog with him, and so both were killed instantly. And Skagit Braking had it up, and the poor wife, that's how she found out about it, that her husband was there, because she knew that he had just left the house and had the dog with him. So, she never got a chance to, hear it from somebody that would be able to handle it better. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of Skagit Braking, and I meant to unsubscribe from them today, and I just hadn't got on the phone enough to mess with it. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of that group.
I'm just to hear that. That is absolutely excusable to me. Absolutely, and I have choice words for that.
Well, they were speculating. Everybody was talking about with Jalen. They were talking about, weren't they? I didn't look at the site. I didn't see what was going on. I was just hearing secondhand from Paula. Apparently, they were speculating on what had happened, or they weren't speculating. They were saying what had happened, right?
Yeah.
None of it was true.
No.
So,
like, they were saying that they were speeding, that drugs and alcohol were involved, that he was going into surgery, that he had a hematoma.
know any of this stuff.
Right?
He was
Out of the entire.
I can't remember the word. Oh, resisting arrest.
Oh, okay. He wasn't resisting arrest. He was resisting help. That's why they had to give him so much ketamine, was because he was fighting off the ambulance guys.
Oh, wow.
And winning. Right.
Oh.
So.
Glad he's home, and I'm glad he's safe, and that things are good.
Friend, but this show has kind of gone off the rails, guys, and it's okay for tonight because I really don't care. So, like, whatever you guys want to talk about, I don't care. Friend,
the local dolphin pod goes an average of 32 miles per hour.
What?
The local dolphin pod goes an average of 30 miles per hour.
No way.
Yeah.
How fast is an orca?
No idea.
Dolphin pod.
Dolphin pod.
Is 30 miles an hour.
Yep.
Hey,
pretty cool.
I figured they'd go faster.
Yeah, me too.
Is that with or without coconuts?
Oh, I don't know.
And is that in the water or out of the water?
That's true.
Is that equipped with a turbocharger or not?
Go ahead, Nikki.
So regarding tonight's topic, something came up on a couple of different feeds that I deal with. Going back to tonight's actual topic, just for a moment, when you mentioned ketamine, there was a doctor who was posting, doctor or paramedic, I can't remember which, at this second, and he was posting about how when he is at a on-site for a music concert, that, and he mentioned Hatman, and I thought, wait a minute. And I did a little research and come to find out ketamine and other certain drugs actually create it in the mind Hatman. And I was like, whoa, didn't know that. I mean, I knew there could be medical reasons for it, but I didn't know that. Figured some drugs could. I was like, wow, okay. So I learned something new. Granted, medical profession, and they are a true medical professional. I checked them out. I just didn't know whether they were paramedic. Anyway, that kind of medical. What I'm trying to say. Anyway, I found it really fascinating because Hatman can be a Hatman can be manifested in an area because of other people or a lot. So it's a lot of it is energy, and it's fascinating to me how the mind can really play on different and how. It's amazing though. It's amazing.
So, okay, Hatman, I'm not necessarily familiar with. You said Hatman?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with this particular entity. He meant to say. What is it? What was the traditional way of invoking it? Or is it just that's just it? That's drugs, or?
No, based on a lot of different, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, that know probably more about this than I do. Based on how I understand it, a lot of it is manifestation of energy. And somebody who has never had a paranormal experience can walk into an area, whether it's a restaurant or a bar or a hotel or wherever, and they turn around and they see a shadowy figure with a hat, a black hat, and I wanted to call it a top hat. That is not what I mean. To me, when I think of Hatman, I think of kind of like this old-fashioned black, not straw hat, but it reminds me of an old-fashioned straw hat. It's straight out and
it's called a wide brim fedora.
Thank you. Well, that's kind of, I don't think of a fedora. I think of something a little bit wider with the brim, but
no, but it's called a wide brim fedora.
Yeah,
that's actually the name of it. Because it still has the teardrop or the either the teardrop or the saddleback top.
Yeah, in the top of the hat.
But,
and go ahead.
So Hatman actually started with people finding him while they were in sleep paralysis.
Okay.
So they would have moments of sleep paralysis where they would see a shadowy figure coming to them in their bedroom. Those same people eventually were seeing him well awake.
And does he just go away? I mean, obviously. I mean, were they killed eventually? I mean, did he just give up? And...
As far as I know, no one's been killed by him. It's just absolute terror. He invokes terror.
He
Nah.
just like to fuck with people, basically.
Yes.
Well, and
Cool.
it is a version, like I said, it's a manifestation, but it's also like the sleep paralysis. That there are medical reasons for sleep paralysis. There are also paranormal reasons for sleep. Which is which? It's probably 7.
Say that again, Nikki. The last part of that just went out.
That means my internet's going wonky. So I said it could be medical. 7 to 9 times out of 10, it's going to be some kind of medical for sleep paralysis versus paranormal. And it has to be determined which one medical versus paranormal, because paranormal is very much involved in this regarding Hatman, but it's also what our brain does. We have what's it called, pareidolia. Is that the correct term?
Yes.
Our images out and sees things. So, for example, some people pass woods in a picture while other people don't see it at all, and it may never have been there to begin with. That's pareidolia. So, but our brain sees it a certain way. Then there are cases where it really is Sasquatch, hello, and it really is in the picture. So it's and of things, and you've got to figure out medical versus true paranormal, and that makes it kind of difficult.
Yeah. They say a lot of people who have cultural phenomena such as alien abduction, near-death experience, things like that, can, when they come back from it, experience sleep paralysis. The medical side of it would be like waking up from in the middle of a surgery where your mind is awake, but you still can't move. You have no control over your body, and things like ketamine can do that. Now I think the problem is we are leading into an area in medical study where I think that's going to be getting more and more prominent with the introduction of microdosing of so I know they're microdosing people with acid in California, and I believe heroin as well, to help with anxiety. The problem is anxiety is caused mostly by your conscious thoughts, and
So lobotomies all around.
Yeah, well, drugs like that bring your subconscious to the forefront. The problem is, if you have ever seen something with Hatman, your subconscious is not what you want to come to the front. Friend. So
lobotomies all around. Bring it back.
No lobotomy.
sorry, Nikki, you're breaking up again.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, I unplugged. So basically, microdosing can help some people, but Cole is right. It's one of those things. If you are an abductee, ET abductee, or had real trauma and anxiety, you got to be really freaking careful. Be in counseling. In my opinion, this is my opinion. This is not medical. But in my opinion, be in some kind of counseling to be able to deal with the psychological and some kind of medical backup that if you're going to do microdosing, because straight microdosing to somebody has been, and I am a proponent of the abductees. Also, the outcome of people doing that, and at the same time, now I've not microdosed, but I have done CBD in order to deal with pain, and CBD takes an effect, and you've got to be very freaking careful because you can't cause different things, and thank God I've never experienced it, but you can cause different things with the brain, and that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. You got to be very, very freaking careful with that stuff.
Well, and yeah, like anytime you do anything with that kind of stuff, like any of it, even just straight up marijuana.
Yeah.
Do you know what the most common term used for marijuana nowadays is?
I'm afraid to ask.
Someone was faded.
Oh, holy crap, really?
And what it means to the younger generation now is they were so far into the trip on THC that they couldn't function properly.
Yeah, and that's where
Lost you again, Nikki.
I think it's because Cole's on. His bar's all lit up, so if he puts them on mute, he might be able to hear.
Friend, yeah, maybe.
For pain, you don't. It's very, very, very THC so low that there's not going to get high from it, but it will help you with pain. So that's why I say you have to be really fucking careful, especially is selling it to the manufacturer on them. CBD is a whole other animal versus THC, and THC has its own uses if done correctly, but most people don't do it correctly. And that's the problem that I have with it. I'm like, okay, CBD will really, I'm a proponent for CBD use if nothing else is working and if there are other major frickin' issues involved. And so, and it's something you definitely don't want, in my opinion. Like I said, this is an opinion, not medical stuff. Do your research, talk to people, talk to the pros, talk to people who have the knowledge. I mean, the true knowledge. So for me, it helped me with extreme nerve pain that medical prescriptions were not cutting. And it's what got me through. And it was extreme nerve pain. It was really high. And I was getting to the point where I was freaking out, because not on the CBD, but before the CBD, simply because of the kind of pain I was in and how the prescriptions were affecting my brain. I was like, I got to get off this shit because this is not okay. I got to go with something a little bit more natural and see what we can do. And I had tried everything that I could find and figure out what was possible to help. And I found a very specific kind of percentage of CBD worked for my nerve pain, and it was real specific for me, because I found that it couldn't be above this amount, or it would screw with me in a different way. And I'm like, no, okay, I'm not pulling with that bull BS. And so I figured out what worked for me. I talked about it with a doctor, naturopath, and found out what really worked, and that is how I survived. Hate to say it that way, but it got me out of taking something that affects the brain in such a way that it can potentially cause, and this is a prescription medication, that could potentially cause Alzheimer's and dementia type symptoms and really take major effect. And I was like, no. No. That's absolutely inexcusable to me. You're not going to freaking put me on that. No. So there were times that I'd go around with a different doctor and they'd get really angry and really frustrated. And I'm like, look, I'm doing what I can do, but I am not going to do this specific prescription because it literally causes memory loss. I'm like, no way. With all the crap that I've got going on as an ET, no way in hell. It's one thing to have ETs pull that thing. It's a totally different ball game to have medical doctors go, oh, here, let's just do this. I believe in medicine. I truly, honestly do. But I'm a proponent of really ask questions. Deep dive with your doctor. Get into a conversation because it's that important, especially if they're prescribing something that can cause problems on the brain. That's a big deal. It's like a dumbing down. It's another example of medical trying to dumb down society, and it's not them actually. They're trying to help. I get that. I totally understand that. I get that. There's some doctors that I dearly love. They're wonderful. And there's one doctor that's a neurologist that I know. Fantastic doctor. Horrible bedside manner. Oh my God. And he's the type of doctor where he's best in a lab. I mean, he knows his business, man. But to talk to a patient, oh God, yikes. But the knowledge on him is just incredible. And if you can get past that and get to the knowledge, there are some doctors that you can actually work with and deal with. So yeah, do your research, look into things, but don't just go, oh my God, do you know how many years I fought that? I had so many people coming to me going, oh, you ought to be on CBD. Oh, you ought to do that. And I'm like, I'm doing what's right for me at the time. And when I finally, quote unquote, bit the bullet, so to speak, it was a big deal for me I was like, okay, I know my body. I know what I can and cannot handle medically. We're going to do this in baby steps. And now I know if I ever need something, I know exactly what I can take at the extreme low dosage of it, and it's going to cut the insanity of the pain. It might not cut all of it, but at least it'll get me to where I can get to a level to where I can function.
Right.
That's a big deal. But you have to do your research. It's vital. I mean, you can't go blindly into this. So there are some things that I fully agree with, and microdosing, that's great if you can do it, but do your extreme research. And there's not, on certain things that are being microdosed right now, there's not a lot of research, medical research. There's not a lot of scientific research done on some of these things for microdosing. So you've got to be on your freaking game to deal and to understand.
And that's the problem. The research isn't being done on things that are beneficial. There's research being done. Somebody published a paper over in England or Australia or somewhere that was given a research grant and determined that milk is racist because white milk is racist because of colonialism. I kid you not. So instead of spending money where we could actually be like figuring out how to make to pain, to limit pain in people that experience neuropathy. Paul and I both do, and Nikki, you as well. And are those sort of things are helping us maybe figure out how to solve getting rid of cancer finally, or any number of things. No, we're doing stupid research on stupid things like like the weirdest studies. I don't understand. I don't understand how any of this works, and it makes me angry every time I see some study that comes up, and I'm like, couldn't this money have been spent towards helping people, or figuring out how to make us not die, or well, we're going to die, but maybe not hurt as much, or solving schizophrenia, or any number of things. Sorry, tangent, but
No, it's okay, because I'm in full agreement, because there's so many things out there that are just a pain in the butt, and you have to be an advocate for yourself. That's what it boils down to. And if you're not going to be an advocate for yourself, are you walking blindly? Or are you asking critical thinking skill questions? And if you're getting, and here's where I have problems with some of the medical stuff is, a lot of doctors have been trained to, without even realizing it, but they gaslight their patients. I had a doctor that I loved for 20 years and was asked, I'm trying to figure out how to say this so that I'm not, because I really do like the doctor, but I was so stunned by this one situation in my 19th year with that person that I was gaslit. It was medical gaslighting, and I was absolutely dumbfounded. In the office with the person, I was just like, wait a minute, what just happened?
Yeah.
And I left there going, they've never done this before, but yet turn around and go to a different doctor because of a referral. That's the first thing they did, was gaslight. And I was like, oh, this is not okay. And so when I started doing some research on it, come to find out, many of them don't even realize that it's taking place in their own education, in their own schooling, and it's a form of medical gaslighting, and you've got to be very careful. So you've got to ask questions, and if you get a gaslit thing, you got to be careful if you're going to confront that physician, because they could actually escort you off their premises because you're simply asking a question and you're going, no, you're telling me this doesn't hurt and this is not possible, but yet it is. And it's like, okay, then you delve into, is it psychological? You have to look at all the different aspects of it.
right.
And it's really difficult, and it's more difficult now as a patient to find a doctor who doesn't gaslight, find a doctor who is not putting that kind of stuff on their patients. And like I said, I never had that experience with that one exception on my 19th year going in, and I was so stunned, so utterly, I just walked out of there. I remember walking out of there to the car, and I sat down and I actually said to the person that took me, because there was also a medical procedure going on that day, and I literally said to them, what the hell just happened to me? Because I was medically gaslit.
Yeah.
And I was just dumbfounded. It literally put me into shock. So yeah, you've got to do your research. You've got to be your own advocate for yourself. Sorry, we went off on a whole different tangent.
Right. But that's okay. Freeform.
Yeah.
They need to do their research. They need to be asking, look into your doctor, look into their background. I mean, you don't want to get into like stalker bullshit, but you want to do your background as to
Too many of these doctors, it's not as bad as the cops that go from the department to department. In other words, they get their license, they get to resign after they've done X amount of terrible things, and then they just go a few towns over and they start over again. It's not that bad, but yeah, I mean they all look out for each other. And you have to, you really have to be thorough and look into backgrounds. It's not stalking to, like, who is the person prescribing me drugs that could possibly alter my life or kill me, or not giving me the drugs I need. We have a doctor that, Paula, we're always having, her neuropathy is just so bad. And Nikki, thank you for all the information you've given us over the past couple of years, and we're still trying to work on some of that. But yeah, but they act like it's just like, well, you're already prescribed enough. Yet they'll give. Now she actually needs higher dosage. She has worse pain than I do, but for whatever reason, they'll give me additional medications or large amounts of like gabapentin, but they won't give it to her. There's no rhyme or reason to it. She's never, done anything that would suggest that she, is some kind of junkie. And the stuff she's on, Lyrica is what they call a Schedule 2, I guess. So you have to sign for it, and you have to give them a driver's license. But at the same time, it's like it's not fentanyl, or it's not an opioid, or I don't get it. There's no rhyme or reason to the way they do things. And again,
medicine.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? You have to sign for it. You have to show your Washington State ID or your Washington State driver's license. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah.
Sinus medicine.
Well, the sinus medicine, actually, that goes to the meth. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but it's just, what the hell? And it never used to be like that. Even 20 years ago.
Nikki, I'm old enough to remember being able to walk up to the counter at a hobby shop as a minor and buy glue, model glue. So, and all of it's locked behind cases. Spray paints are locked behind cases, and it's just
Yeah, huffing.
Like,
As kids figured out how to huff it back, 15, close to 20 years ago, and it became a thing, and that's the same way with the sinus meds.
Yep.
As people turned it into a drug.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's amazing.
It's kind of weird. We're in a crazy world that we live in.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing too. Yeah, like, it never used to be like that. But that, I mean, one of the main ingredients in crystal meth is Sudafed, guys.
Yeah.
And
well, that's what we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing. At first, they figured out that people were buying it to make it, so they stopped selling it over the counter. Okay, friend. Then, well, great. Now we can get a prescription for it, and it's free because we get it through our healthcare. Like, we just made it easier for them, so now they're trying to figure out a way to make it harder again to get it because they limit the amount you can actually get in a year.
And it's fascinating too because Sudafed is a ephedra.
Yeah.
It's literally a herb called ephedra. And I mean, the difference is that instead of using the actual herb, they're cutting out a middleman is what they're doing because it's been manufactured by drug companies, and they're using it in such a way that they can melt it down or boil it down, whatever the hell they do with it. But I mean, the actual herb itself is not illegal. As far as I know, it's not illegal to grow in any state in these United States. So, and I'm like, it's interesting that the FDA hasn't, like they have with other herbs, and I'm not talking marijuana. I'm not talking the pot. I'm talking other things, other herbs you could not since the, what was it, 1994 or 1995. I'm trying to remember because there were things where you couldn't buy golden seal. You couldn't buy, oh crap. There's like 3 different herbs that I'm thinking of, and now the names of them are all gone out of my head right now, but you couldn't buy them. And it was because the FDA put a lockdown on them, and then later on opened them back up, and I'm like, I mean, I called that into question. But a lot of us who were growing our own herbals, whether, oh God, now I can't think of any of them right at this second. Lemon balm or, not golden seal, echinacea, echinacea purpurea. I mean, and then they came out with science to try to disprove that echinacea didn't do anything for, well, actually, yeah, it did. Talk to all the naturopathic doctors and the Chinese herbalists who were specialists in it, and that was one of the ways that the government was trying. I was like, so then you get into the propaganda garbage, and that makes it really difficult. So you've got to do your research. You've got to find what works best for you. Talk to any of the pros, actual pros that are out there, or naturopath doctors or Chinese herbalist doctors who have been out there, who know these herbs, know what they do, know how they process on the body, and talk to them. I mean, even allopathic doctors or acupuncturists, I mean, they know their stuff. These folks, they know their stuff. So start asking questions, figure out what works, because there are other alternatives. It is an option. It just may not be something you had thought of, or it may not be something that you really wanted to delve into. And it got to a point for me in the 90s to where that's why I was starting to grow all my own herbals, and make my own herbals, because I got pissed at some of the medical doctors I had back then, before I got a really good team of doctors for close to 20 years. It makes a difference. It was why I started doing all the research and started talking to naturopathic doctors who were in the know. I mean, I posted something just recently about aluminum toxicity. My medical doctors, I nearly died from aluminum toxicity. I mean, I was told that in 4 days' time, I had to think about it was either 3 days or 4 days' time, that my levels of aluminum toxicity in my body were so freaking high that I would have been hospitalized, and within 1 to 2 weeks, if they weren't able to deal with it in the hospital, I most likely would have been dead. And my naturopath is the only one, this is the first thing he asked me. He's like, and that was in the day when certain products actually had high amounts of aluminum powder in them. Or I didn't know that I was cooking in aluminum. I didn't know it was made out of aluminum. I was cooking out of aluminum pots from my mom. They had been given to me by my mom. They were from my grandmother. I didn't know that they were aluminum. Hell, I was making spaghetti. Oh, hello, high acid. And then with cooking salmon in aluminum, that aluminum foil and the leaching that aluminum foil does specifically when you're using lemon and salt. And then I was using antiperspirant. So I basically had an overtime accumulation, very, very high accumulation of aluminum toxicity. And the only reason I myself caught it was because I had dropped something on the ground. I was on the phone with someone, and I dropped something on the ground. It was something tiny. I was big-footed. It was late spring, early summer, so I had, and it was warm. It was really warm. And I had my front door and my back door open, and which is, for me, crucial, is how I remembered what time of the year it was. And I didn't even blink to bend down and pick it up like I normally would have. I literally stepped on it and actually dropped the phone and down, and where the hell did that just come from? And the person on the phone said, well, I heard you drop it. I thought you were bending over to pick it up. And I said, no, I literally just went to take another step, and I stepped on it. And it was very, very sharp. Even though it was plastic, it was very, very sharp. And that's what triggered. And I literally started writing Post-it notes because because I had the app down, I picked it up. And I went in and I literally, within a hand's reach, reached for a Post-it note, wrote it on there, remember this, ouch. And I put the plastic item, with the Post-it note. And that was the only way because I was forgetting hardcore. I mean, aluminum toxicity is very, very serious. And it's an accumulation. And that's how I found out how severe it was. It was acting like Alzheimer's on me. And thank God I had a natural. It was the first thing he said. The medical doctors were like, oh, let's test your blood and let's do some urinalysis. That was it. That was it. If it wasn't for this naturopathic doctor, I don't think I'd be here today.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really big deal. And somebody had commented on a site how aluminum toxicity is absolute bullshit and there's no science. Yes, there is. Look it up. Do your frickin' research. Don't just spout off the mouth. And that's why every couple of years I post something about aluminum toxicity. And there's only a handful of people that knew me that are on my Facebook page that knew what was taking place at that time, and they saw me. They knew what was going on because I was experiencing it right in front of them. I literally had a little kid. I was not remembering different things, and when you're dealing with a toddler, that's a big freaking deal. Did you feed your kid? Did you change them? Did you remember? I mean, there's so many different avenues as a parent. I freaked. I hardcore freaked. So yeah, medically stuff, you got to research.
Okay, I got a few notes here.
Yes.
Number one, Nikki, if you ever get a merchandise line, I want a shirt that says on the front, do your frickin' research.
I love it. That's
Yes.
Number two, did you guys know Microsoft Bing is a narc?
what?
So I searched, when did people start making homemade meth?
Ooh.
Okay? And it gave me the answer. It gave me all the information that I needed. But then it also tells you from history.com how to make it. You reduce ephedrine into a crystallized form using phosphorus and iodine.
Ew.
And then it has another link through their AI service of how to make it.
Oh my God.
They're fucking narcs. It's a direct link to the police department. I fucking guarantee it.
Jesus.
Those bastards at Big.
We didn't things you learned online. Just we were two separate incidents. I was looking at YouTube the other night, and there's this one channel I've started following. It's the live version of a podcast. Like mostly, it's a bunch of guys that used to serve in the military and live in Texas, and they talk about a bunch of things, different random topics. They go off the rails like we do. But one of them was talking about, well, you ever heard of redneck C4? And C4 being the explosive. I'm like, listen to this. I'm like, what is this? And they go, okay. Let me explain it to you. So what you do is you take a 5-pound bag of flour, you soak it in diesel, you let it dry for 24 hours, and you stick like an M80 in it and light it, and apparently it's a big boom. I'm
Holy,
like, why? why would you? Which led to people throwing flour suddenly because I watched that. I'm watching a podcast. This is a small segment in a podcast. They only talked about it for maybe 2 minutes in a 3-hour podcast. I get out of that podcast, I go look, and all of a sudden my recommendations are people throwing flour onto fire or causing flour explosions. Did not know this was a thing.
But you ask why, Rick. The answer is because fireworks are getting more and more expensive every year.
Yeah.
works. I've never had money for what I did.
Other things that remain unexplained, I need explanations for. Why, if we're in an area that's in a permanent fire ban every flipping summer, do we have a fireworks stand literally between you and me, Cole? It's probably about equidistant. It's probably about 2 miles from both of us, or a
Because it's
little
his
less.
native right.
Wait, is he native?
It's on native land. And yes, he is.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize this was.
Everything on that side of the airport there is all native land.
Ah, okay. Oh, but again, okay. Well, yeah, I get selling it, but yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's legally allowed to sell it. It doesn't mean you're allowed to set it off just anywhere.
Right.
I'm not going to say that most of our residents are very intelligent when it comes to setting them off.
You mean like I've already started hearing the booms go off? Like,
Well, yeah, that's completely illegal, but...
yeah.
So Kayla actually has a young employee that just started with her, and he's got a little baby, brand new 6-month-old, and they live on the reservation.
Okay.
So all month long, because these guys have to test all of the things all the new items that they're getting. Every night he's hearing them,
Oh.
and he is getting so annoyed. But there is not much you can do. It's the only place at this point that you're actually allowed to set them off, and it's not like these guys want to do it next to the fireworks stands. Like,
Oh, no.
although there are a few of our locals that do that. Trying to remember which one it was. I think it might have been up north. Yeah, the Silver Reef guys, Lummy. They had for a while. They had their fireworks stand set up, and then just right across the street, they were setting them off.
Oh. Good grief.
Well, that's what we did when I was over there in the States, and I was helping out my wife with selling fireworks for the fireworks stand in Vancouver. They had the fireworks stand positioned in a vacant lot right next to a fuel station, like gas station. Yeah. And
I love Australia.
no, it was over there.
Yeah, that was here.
Oh,
in
it's here.
Vancouver,
Oh, okay.
just above Portland. Yeah.
Oh.
And they were letting them off there too, like in the vacant lot next to the tent.
Okay.
It was like, are you idiots? Are you stupid? Are you going to let the entire lot off?
See, I expect that sort of crap in Texas. You know, that's sort of it goes with the territory. So, yeah, I'm always impressed by the amount of rednecks are everywhere. You know, just the inability to like think things through to the degree that, okay, you have explosives near anything flammable, and you think it's a good idea. No, it's the best thing. Well, it's not the best thing ever because lots of people died. But and Paula, this is another YouTube thing. Paula hates remember the Beirut explosion from a couple of years ago. The at the port where they had a ship that had gotten left behind that basically the company went bankrupt and just left their ship, and they had a bunch of ammonium nitrate, like a crap ton of it, no pun intended. And so they just took it off the ship and put it in this warehouse. Guess what else they put in the warehouse? Fireworks. What is that part of the world known for in the Middle East? Being very hot. And so I don't even think it was the heat. Something went wonky. Somebody did something, or somehow the fireworks got going. And so you see all these fireworks going off at the port, and suddenly it finally hits that ammonium nitrate, and it is, I think, the second largest man-made explosion of all time, not military related. So, I mean, it leveled everything. I mean, it was just, it's the same sort of concept. The ammonium nitrate, was what they used at Oklahoma City, and that took out a federal court. You see how big what the damage did there. Now imagine it even more of the stuff with fireworks. Now, who thinks that's a good idea? We have the most explosive normal substance on the face of the earth, and we're going to put fireworks next to it.
I will say, we try and be as safe as we can most of the time. So I set up 2 sawhorses with a 3/4 inch piece of plywood on it, and I drill the plywood into the sawhorses, and then each of the mortar tubes is drilled into the the plywood.
Right.
And they're sat there. But accidents do happen. When Kayla's sister was diagnosed with MS, she was having issues walking her first year. And she was trying to help us set some of them off because she bought a lot of them. And so it was a little dark, and her boyfriend was trying to help her boyfriend at the time, and he wasn't the brightest bulb in the fucking room. So when he went to help her put one of the mortars in, he had her put it in upside down. Friend, that thing shot through that 3/4 inch plywood like nothing. It hit the ground and exploded right there.
Oh.
Friend.
Well, that wasn't on you, though.
No. Most we keep charged hoses. We do everything we can. Most people think I'm nuts because the only thing I don't do is when I set one off, I don't back up. I stand there.
Kind of silly. That's a good way to.
Well,
do you trust the manufacturers of these things to get it right?
No, but I trust myself to protect the rest of the family from getting hit by anything that's going to come shooting out the side.
True.
Friend, I'm a big fucking target. So, and the worst thing that usually happens is I singe a few hairs, and then that night I am shampooing like crazy to get the concrete out of my head. Because my entire head is covered in it. Because most of the smaller stuff all has concrete inside of it.
Huh.
And it's just powdered concrete, but it helps with letting it explode in the right direction. So,
okay.
When it leaves the tube, all of that rains back down on you.
I'll be damned.
Yeah.
I never even thought of it, but it makes sense. I just, never even occurred to me.
Yeah, the Roman candles?
Yeah.
In between each shot, there is a piece of, a little, nugget of dried concrete.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and that just shoots out in front of everyone, so every time you actually shoot one, if you're aiming it at a 75-degree angle up in the air, and someone's standing right in front of you, they're going to get a face full of concrete. Friend. But, you try and be as safe as you can. You've got some guys that just don't think. Friend.
Well,
that really can't be helped.
There's a whole lot of that these days. So it's... people have just, I didn't think it was possible. People are getting dumber. And most people, if go in this direction, we're going to literally be living in idiocracy. I'm fairly sure we already are.
I don't know if we're getting dumber.
Are you sure? I know we have scientists that are making incredible advances in things, but
15 years ago, I watched a guy fill an entire queen-size air mattress with acetylene and then set it off with a Roman candle.
oh my God.
So, and I'm not going to lie, it was awesome. I'm thinking, friend. And at that same party, he had a 50-foot dog run. And his son's birthday is on the 4th of July. So we had a Cars pinata of Lightning McQueen. And the kids couldn't bust it, so we ripped the top or bottom of it open. And it was also his uncle's graduation, the kid's uncle's graduation. Okay. So for his graduation, one of the fire stand people gave him a half a stick of dynamite.
Oh, no.
So we took Lightning McQueen and we filled him with expanding foam and stuck the half stick in there.
Oh.
And
On your property.
Oh, yeah. And for him, but so Lightning McQueen is attached to the dog run. So the idea was you light it and then send it down the dog run as fast as you can.
Right.
And that only works if you oil the dog run. So he whipped it down the dog run as hard as he could, and it went 10 feet away. So everyone just started running. And like, it had a good sized fuse. It was about a foot long fuse, but a foot long isn't that long when you have to run away.
Yeah.
Friend.
When ka-chow goes to kaboom.
Yeah. Friend. And like we do, like you get all the kids' fireworks where it's like little stuff for little kids, the pooping dog and like all the snakes and stuff, and then all of the little ones that just go. Ground flowers is what they're called. Friend.
Oh, yeah.
All the ones for the little kid, and then the little tanks and everything. And we take anything that they didn't set off, and once we're all done with fireworks, we had a big bonfire there. That his property was quite large, and there was no trees on it. I'm going to start with that. And he had a cleared area where we would take tree stumps and burn them. And at this point, he had 3 stumps that he was trying to burn. So it was probably a 10-foot by 10-foot fire. Filled with tree stumps and then pallets. And you take the box of all the kids' fireworks that were left over and you toss them in the middle of it before you start it. Well, that year he forgot that he had put all the Roman candles in there as well.
Oh. Oh.
None of them shot off any further than like this tree stumps. But it was a dangerous situation for a moment, and everyone was a little scared to get too close. His parties were always a little crazy.
Oh, those are the best, though.
Yeah, they bring out the best memories somehow.
If you survive them.
Yeah, if you survive them.
But it makes for a hell of a news story if you don't.
Well,
so,
yeah, and like the biggest thing we ever had happen was, and not the biggest, and it's not the best, it's the most horrible. One of the guys, he was out riding on his quad, and he wasn't drinking yet, he wasn't doing anything real bad. He was doing maybe 4 miles an hour. And obviously his dog wasn't that smart to begin with. He ran in front of the tires.
Oh.
And he ran his own dog over.
Oh, no.
So he had to take off from the party and take his dog to the vet, get him checked out. But that's the worst thing that ever really happened there.
Okay. Wait, did Survive?
Huh?
Dog survive?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Dog was perfect. Friend.
Okay.
Needed
still-
a milk bone and was happy as could be. Well, probably not happy. He got ran over. Like,
Well-
I wouldn't be happy. But, friend, we are getting close to that time of year, though. Like, we've got what? 8 days left.
Yep.
Friend. Which means we only have 1 day left until they can legally set them off.
Ah.
So in a day, and his weather's supposed to clear up. What's that head shake for, Robert?
Just thinking of all the animals that's gonna run away because of everyone setting them off.
Oh, it's
Well, hopefully
yeah.
it's the fucking grizzly bears they're trying to put here.
Out to the Sasquatch. We're doing fireworks. Of course,
Yeah.
they probably already know. I mean, hello.
Yeah, they've already cleared out. They're like, no. I think they're smart enough to realize it's that time of year.
I don't think
I
they're clearing
know,
out.
but they
The
know.
humans are.
I mean, the Sasquatch and the native people have a very good relationship. I'm pretty sure they already have their fireworks, and they found their own clearing that they are setting them off in, wearing
Yeah.
their red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Sasquatch is nothing if he's not patriotic.
He's got his stars and stripes.
Damn right.
Oh my God.
Swim shirts on. And he's ready
Yeah,
to go.
And the Budweiser 2-beer hat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because nothing says America.
And the kids have the same hat, but it's got Coca-Cola in it.
Oh, God, I love her. Yeah, people can hate us all they want, but they're all trying to get here. I mean, everybody wants to come here eventually. Now, I realize we have a lot of issues. I'm not going to sit there and say that we're not, we're the best at everything. But by God, we give the world some awesome crap. We've done pretty good.
Friend,
Now, we give the world Duran Duran. Sadly, that was England, but we can't take everything.
Okay, I like Duran Duran. Don't give them shit.
Hey, no. I'm look. Paula is Queen Duran Duran. You think I'm going to sit here and she's right next to me and say anything bad about Duran Duran?
I'm just going to
ain't-
say, my day is first, like 4 days till Canada Day. And
Yep.
everything we give you, you guys seem to ruin. So, I mean, we gave you Justin Bieber, a cute little 12-year-old kid, and you turned him into that. So,
Hey, he's doing okay these days. He's comfortably married, has a kid on the way. I mean,
on his
He
8th
married
round of
an
rehab,
Owen.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, he fell in with one of those mega church pastors that apparently has a lot of issues of his own, but that's what got him clean and sober. So, hey, he's about to reproduce with a Baldwin heir. So, which is the Baldwin's like Alec, and it's not Alec Baldwin's daughter. It's the Dumb Brothers' daughter.
Steven?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's Steven. I think it's his daughter. Yeah.
Okay. But,
Yeah. So. Oh,
I'm
and
not
she did
commenting any of
too.
that,
what's that?
except for the Bieber. I'm not commenting on any of that except for the Bieber stuff. I'm not a fan.
Of Bieber?
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither.
Somewhere out in my weird collection of stuff in my storage, we had a value village there in Everett, and I'd periodically, if I was out running errands, I'd get bored and I'd stop into it. And, I'd swing through the toy section on the way to the clothes, and I would always just stop to look and see what randomness was there. I actually own and I'm not proud of this, but I got it for a reason. I own a clothless Justin Bieber doll. Like one of the 12-inch tall ones. It's just him in his shorts.
Why?
Because I was going to make a horrible...
Whoa. That is not a question we should ask.
No. I said there is a reason. Because I immediately had evil thoughts about what I would do, which is to send it to somebody as a horrible... Like, I had this whole thing where I was going to package it and send it. Was it my brother or was it your brother I was going to give it to? I think it was your brother. Paula and her brother do all these like pranks on each other, and we were living like within spitting distance of each other at this point. So I was thinking, oh, okay, well, because he put spiders, these little tiny plastic spiders all around our apartment door or something like it was. And Paul and I are petrified of even pretend spiders. So, my goal was to get even with him. And so that's what I was going to do. I was going to mount it with a voice, one of those, the cards, the gift card where you can record like the horrible voice or something, or like your own recording of it. You're like saying happy birthday. So I was going to do something with that, but I never got around to it, and it sort of just got put in a box. And every time we moved 2 other times. We moved here. We moved to a different place, and so yeah, it was like, oh, here's that Justin Bieber. I should get rid of this. And I could use this someday to give to somebody to make a horrible like prank thing, and so it just stays. So yes, I have a clothless Justin Bieber doll in my collection of stuff. I also have a Chuck Norris action figure, so not sure what I'm going to do with it.
Huh.
Complete with action pants, yes.
I did not wish to know that.
Yeah.
Well, the show kind of went off the rails again, so what were we talking about originally? So, hey, what about Candyman? He's made up, right? That's just the creation of the movies. Wait, what? What do you mean Sammy Davis Jr.? Oh, Sammy Davis Jr. is... Oh, yeah, technically he is Candyman.
It's also known as your normal everyday drug dealer.
He was a black Jew in the Rat Pack. So, I mean, all things considered, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on everything else that was in his life. So, yeah. Unless you can prove he was a pedophile. Wait.
No, it actually was before the movie.
What?
Candyman is an actual urban legend.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he was a murdered slave who returns from the dead in search of revenge if you say his name 5 times.
Okay.
Okay.
Brian.
That I remember that one. That's from the 80s.
But here's the thing.
Remember, right?
Yeah, I remember the movie. I don't remember the...
He's a murdered slave. So he's a black guy. Right? He's trying to get revenge. If you're trying to get revenge on your masters, they're not going to call you Candyman. They're going to say boy.
Yeah.
So, who the hell are you getting revenge on?
And why is he called Candyman in the first place? Was he selling candy? Was he giving candy to the white children of the plantation owner? Or I always thought this was just a dumb movie. So I didn't realize that, because Bloody Mary I eventually knew of as like, okay, that's been around forever.
Yeah, it has.
And now Paula's saying the song Candyman's going through her head, so we've ruined her night. So there you go.
Are you singing it with Sammy Davis? I like Sammy.
Yeah, said yes. Damn it. I don't care.
Sammy Davis Jr. and Candyman. That's a wonderful song. I used to love him for tap dancing, and when the other tap dancer, who I can't think of his name of right now, honored him, it was truly great. It was is one of my
Gregory
Gregory Hines. Thank you. And they're both just. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is no links to the actual legend, but part of the story is true. So the story when I mean the story from the movies. So there was a young lady named Ruthie Mae McCoy, a lonely mentally ill resident of the ABLA homes on Chicago's South Side. On the night of April 22nd, 1987, a terrified Ruthie called 911 to request help from the police. She told the dispatcher that someone in the apartment next door was trying to come through her bathroom mirror. They throwed the cabinet down, she said, confusing the dispatcher, who thought she must be crazy. What the dispatcher didn't know is that McCoy was right. Narrow passages between apartments allowed maintenance workers easy access, but they also became a popular way for burglars to break in by pushing the bathroom cabinet out of the wall.
That's right. Oh, I forgot about that.
Although a neighbor reported gunshots coming from McCoy's apartment, police chose not to break down the door due to the risk of being sued by the residents had they done so.
Wow.
When a building superintendent finally drilled the lock 2 days later, he discovered McCoy's body face down on the floor, shot 4 times. So the movie contains several elements of this sad tale.
Okay.
Nasty.
Yeah. Chicago.
So, but the original urban legend originated in Britain.
Okay. But somehow got transposed to us. Well, they all did. But I was Bloody Mary, same thing. But yeah. Well, I'm going to imagine it came over on, part of the migration.
Well, yeah, most of them are just adaptations because no one had really figured out how to make a movie in Hollywood featuring scenes of different other countries. It was pretty hard back then with some of the stuff they were trying to do because the scene building was way too expensive.
Yeah.
So,
Harold talked about.
Yeah, now they figured out. Vancouver, Canada looks exactly like New York. There are so many easy ways to film cheaper now.
Yeah. I mean, I just had a conversation with someone, what was it, beginning to middle of last week about the fact, we were talking about the movie Practical Magic and how the studio built the house, and I had read an article earlier, I think 2 or 3 days earlier, about that property regarding the house and how one of the actresses wanted to buy the house from one of the actresses from the movie, and it wasn't the 2 lead actresses, it was somebody else on the movie set. They wanted to buy the house, and they had found out that the studio had built the house and then destroyed it because it was cheaper to build that house than it was to build in the studio. And when I read that, I was just I was shocked. Just absolutely shocked because, hello, it was filmed in Washington, right here in Washington. So I'm wondering if they're going to buy that property and do that whole thing again, or if there's build in studio.
I think
because
they
those
could, but
warehouse.
Let's say you were a fan of the movie.
Yeah.
And you wanted to actually do that on the property that they used. I don't think if you built it again, it would have the same feel.
No, it wouldn't. it's almost like it was a magical. I don't really want to use that word, but it was
gypsy.
Yeah. There's no other feeling for it. I mean, there was something very specific and very special about that property. And
I don't mean any disrespect using that word.
No, I know it.
They're one day, gone the next. Friend, just like a gypsy caravan.
Yep.
That's the way I would view it. But yeah, because anytime they build a set in Hollywood, they have to pay the taxes on building it too.
Yeah.
And still have to get the permits.
Sure.
So, could you imagine if, let's say, George Lucas tried to actually build huge actual parts of the Death Star or those areas, or actually tried to create an Endor,
yeah,
or Moon of Endor, sorry, but the taxes and the permits for it would kill them.
Yeah, I mean that's why they filmed in Washington State, isn't it? Because it was cheaper to film in the woods in a very specific way.
Yes.
Than it was out in their studios. I mean, you go back in. I mean, that's movie history. And now they're talking about making a second movie to Practical Magic. So I'm curious as to the two lead actresses are we want to do this. So at least that's what has been announced anyway. And I think that's great, but I'm fascinated at what they're going to do regarding the house.
Okay, I heard something tonight. You guys might not be as excited as I am. But do you guys remember Moana?
Yes.
Dwayne Johnson just admitted they're going for the live action. He is playing him. He's playing Maui.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that might be something to see.
Yeah, I'm he did it on Jimmy Fallon, and he sang the song and everything. It was awesome. It is one of my favorite Disney movies now. And the one that is my favorite, they can't make into a live action. It will never work. And that's Brother Bear.
Oh.
I love that.
I thought you were Song of the South. So,
about what?
Yeah, which one? That get made. Song of the South. You talking about Disney movies? The real life? No.
Friend.
I don't think that one's getting done.
No, but Brother Bear wouldn't be possible. Number one, they couldn't get one of the actors to do it because the two guys, the two Moose were Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas, and Rick still isn't doing anything.
Right.
So, and without him, you just don't have a movie there.
Correct.
There's nothing there, mate.
Oh my God, The Great White North may be one of the greatest comedy duos ever. Strange Brew is one of the 5 funniest movies of all time. I dare anybody to argue with me about it. So
you'll never hear it from me.
It's not in my top 10, but I do love it.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to have it. You just have to have it in your list somewhere. You don't have to.
Yeah, it's definitely on my list, but it's
They trying to argue it out of mine, but no.
Did any of you ever actually watch SCTV?
Yes, I used to watch it every Friday night. It would come on after Carson.
Nikki, Robert, anything?
I'm trying to remember what the hell that was.
So it's just like Saturday Night Live, but it's the Canadian version. And it's where John Candy, Dan Aykroyd...
Martin Short.
Yeah.
Well, Dan Aykroyd was it. It was John Candy, Martin Short, Eugene Levy, who... Maureen O'Hara from the Home Alone movies.
Yeah.
Most people here would know her for. Dave Thomas, Rick Moranis. God, Andrea Martin was on that. She did a lot in Hollywood. God, it was just the best. It just the weirdness, the weird skits that they do. All these weird characters. The guy that ran the network, Guy Caballero. They had a skit where it was John Candy and Eugene Levy, and they were like Polish brothers, and they had like the Nikki would know this PBS, like you had Guy Lombardo or the Lawrence Welk on Saturday evenings on PBS, so it'd be like big band stuff, and the beautiful bubbles and all this stuff. Well, it was the same sort of thing, but it was Polish guys. It was Canadian. It was their version of it, and it was this Polish like duo, and they would we got the coffee and we've got the cabbage rolls and the music, and they'd just be talking. Oh, there's the wonderful family. You have to say it. They have a channel on YouTube. If you've never seen SCTV, go find their channel on YouTube. They have full-length sketches. It's the funniest stuff ever. And, of course, the greatest sketches of all were the Great White North. So, Bob and Doug McKenzie rule forever.
Well, and then a lot of the actors and producers and everyone branched out into the two we still have. I think they're both running now. This hour has 22 minutes. Is one of our greatest shows in Canada right now, and has been for 20 years. And then the other one is the Red Green Show.
Yeah. My God, I loved Red Green.
I
forgot Red Green.
Every episode
or
multiple times.
So
Red Green
and Red Green has started filming again. They went off the air for like 10 years, but they are filming again.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Oh man, you got to have the duct tape.
Right?
You better have that. You better have that tape.
If your wife don't find you handsome, she'll at least find you handy.
Oh my God, I'd forgotten about these things. Oh my God.
Duct taping random things together. Well, apparently the Aries K is the official car of Canada. I was unaware of this.
The what?
The Reliant Ks or the Plymouth K cars.
Yep.
Because back then, at least in the 80s and 90s, they were. So,
right. But like, you gotta admit, like with Canada Day coming, I gotta say it. We have given you guys a lot of great things here in the States.
You've also given us a lot of bad things, just for the record.
No, well, it depends on how you look at it, Rick. We gave you the beaver. How can you complain about that?
Yeah.
You ever going to complain about the beaver?
Yeah.
I don't know many men that would.
What, the beaver or the beaver?
Beaver.
Oh, well, I thought you said beaver. Okay, no.
No, the actual female version.
I was going to say you didn't.
Wait, that's not Canada exclusive. I think that's been around for a few gajillion years. Well, not gajillion, but
yeah, but we made it official.
Natural.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
We made it official.
Okay. Yeah. Wait,
God.
Weren't we settled before you guys in the first place? So
not very well.
Well, but we were here first.
Yeah, but you still haven't stopped being at war with yourselves. So,
We're not at war with ourselves. Nobody. That's a media concoction. Nobody cares. It's all Twitter. It's keyboard warriors. Most of us don't care. We just leave us alone.
Friend,
that's all for day to day. So
till they drop the bombs. Friend.
Because we got the bombs, okay?
Yeah.
Uh,
And we're not afraid to hit ourselves, so,
Yeah, We'll nuke everybody else. Look, China, I'm worried about. I'm even mildly worried about North Korea. I don't think, based on what I've seen in Ukraine, I'm not entirely sure if Russia tried to launch any of their ballistic missiles, that their whole country just wouldn't explode immediately, like that they just blow up into silos. I have no fear of Russia at all. I am worried about everybody else.
You know what the problem is? Russia's thinking the same thing about the United States. You know why?
Wouldn't be.
An actor in Armageddon said it best. Russian parts, or Russian bombs, American bombs, all parts made in Taiwan.
That's a good point. Damn it, I think that may be the only good part of that dumb movie. So,
I like any movie where they do a drilling rig on it.
Actually, I do too.
That and you send me riding the nuke.
I used to know guys that.
Yes.
That rigs.
I've known a few.
Friend. Yeah.
I've known a few oil field guys. I mean, hell, my high school mascot was the Roughneck. So, yeah, I'm familiar.
That job sucked.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yes. But nasty, it's covered in oil all the time.
No, not really. You're actually quite clean.
Yeah,
but
unless it's
big. Yeah.
It was always scary because, like, you have the biggest thing we always said was every bathroom has 2 mirrors. One on the wall, one on the back of the toilet. Friend. Because most of the guys you're with were doing cocaine. Friend.
Oh.
So,
that doesn't look like a good combination.
all of them were, but yeah, I used to hear that kind of stuff too.
Yeah. My brother went through 2 blowouts because of that crap. Because people weren't paying attention.
Yeah, the guys I knew, they did that kind of stuff. Other things, but not that.
The last one, they found his boot 150 feet in the other direction from the rig.
Woo! Like, surprised it didn't go water.
Yeah, no, like he did great. Like his foot was still on him, not in the boot. So for him, but like it was scary because we didn't get to know whether he was alive for about 3 days.
Oh. Sure.
Because they go on complete lockdown when that kind of stuff happens. Because with a blowout, you're also worried about all of the other stuff that's coming out of the line with it. So if you get a pocket of H2S coming out, friend, everyone's dead. Friend,
the stories I heard. I kept asking, why the hell are you keep going back? Because the money's good. And I'm like, is it that good for your life?
Yes.
Because you're working for people. And that Cole, that was exactly the answer that I got. It was that good that, and it's because they're in such a high dangerous situation.
Yeah.
There's so many things. And like you had said, you got guys, because they're fucking up, they, make it more dangerous for the other folks who are working there.
Well, so we had a friend that went to Russia to work on a rig. And did you know in Russia they have 24-hour bars that are underground? And the reason they're underground is because they don't have clocks in them. You never know when they open. Or
that makes
when they're
sense
closed.
with what I...
Yeah, and so the guys went into the bar and they forgot one of the greenhorns, and that was our friend. And so, friend, 3 days later, he walks out of the bar thinking he's only been in there for a few hours. And he comes back to the rig and he's been fired. But like going to Russia...
That's why they don't have windows and clocks in the casinos either. Same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Friend, but that's like going to Russia, Nikki. You go for 6 months, you come back with $180,000, and everything else you had needed was paid for. They buy you cigarettes.
Yeah, I know. The things that I've been told, I haven't even... there are people that they're long gone now, but there are people that I used to talk to back in the day, and there's stories that I don't talk about. I mean, I just don't talk about it, and so I thank you, because some of the memories that I've got from those conversations are very precious to me. That's probably why I don't talk about it. But one of them was somebody who was in and out of Russia and a number of other countries, and that was something that I was told about some of the different locations.
Yeah.
So thank you, because I like I said, I don't think about all that often, but those are like really precious conversations to me, and really precious memories, because it's their memories being told, and they're also really good bullshitters, really good storytellers. They were, but you knew when they were giving you a line of BS versus the real truth, and there was something that always changed in their mannerism. There was something that always changed in their voice, behavior. The whole. So you could, or at least I could. I mean, it was obvious. I'd call them out on their bullshit. They're like, "How the hell?" Just knew.
Yeah.
Hello. You're sober. You're watching them when they're doing bullshit.
Yeah.
And they're telling some other guy a bunch of shit, and yet, they're trying to pawn. And I'm like, no, I don't buy it.
The best.
They complete.
The best part of being in an area that has that kind of setup, though, is so about 4 months after Christmas, usually about 3 months after Christmas, between March and April, you have what we call spring breakup, and it's where the ground is too soft and the farmers won't allow you across their fields or even on their roads. So all rigs shut down, and during that time, no one's working. So that's when all these guys who came home and bought all these new toys start selling them all.
Yeah.
And they are selling them so cheap. So if you're not on the rigs, like let's say you're just working a regular pipeline job that you're staying at home and you're home 9 to 5, like you're working, a 10-hour day, but you're coming home every night. Friend, those are the days you can come back and you can buy things like... well, hell, my brother bought a truck for a case of beer. Friend, so, and that's just, like the rigger it was the end of breakup. He had a few more days to party and he wanted more beer. So he sold him his truck.
Wow.
Friend, it's just crap like that. But like most of the time, it's like you get about like 50% discount on some of the bigger toys that you normally wouldn't be able to buy. Wow. So that was always nice. But on that note, guys, it is 12:03. We are done for the night. Next week we have a very exciting show for you guys, and a very kind of near and dear to my heart show. We are going to be talking about ethics next week, and ethics of a paranormal investigation. So join us for that next week, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. To everyone out there, hug your kids, hug your parents, hug everyone around you. Friend, keep them close to you. You never know what could happen. Friend. And always remember, not a day is promised to you. So, if you want to tell someone to fuck off, now's the time. Friend. All right, guys. Say goodnight. Thank you, Rick, Nikki, Robert. Thank you for joining us. John had to leave halfway through because he's a little wussy. So, Friend. And with that, we will see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night all.
Data transfer complete. System malfunction. Please evacuate immediately. Program terminated.
son of a biscuit eater.